Oh, damn. We're in trouble now.
Great. All right. So welcome back, everyone. We are on chapter 5 of Atomic Habits by James Clear. And thanks for meeting me.
Thanks for meeting you.
Yeah.
Meeting you here in the kitchen.
Yep. Thanks for taking the time to meet with me.
You're very welcome.
You're welcome.
It was just something that I look forward to in my daily week.
In your daily week?
That did not make sense.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, well, before that, why don't we talk about something good that's happened to us this week?
Yeah. Brandon, do you want to go first?
Sure. I'm an affiliate on Twitch.
Yeah,
Yay.
Sure did.
Yep. So,
How was your stream?
which one?
Did you do, weren't you going to do like a 48-hour one?
That's impossible. It's just kind of like how Robert was saying the other day. I hit 13 hours and I was dead.
It's weird because like on paper, you're like, fuck yeah, I could do it. And then it's weird because you physically feel sick.
It wasn't more like, sorry. It's not that I felt sick. It's more of just like I was trying to figure out what to do.
What do you mean?
It was more of like, because I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff to do in the game.
Yeah.
But at the point is like, what the hell do I do after 13 hours? Because at some point I felt like I was just kind of running in circles in a sense and trying to figure out how to make things interesting. But then it's almost like I hit a block.
Well, you probably like you were quote unquote like on for such a long time that it's hard to like keep that momentum or keep that personality, that entertaining like personality going.
But the thing is though, is I was trying to run through like the entire story. So there was like a lot of stuff that I can do. It's just, I got physically bored.
Yeah. I mean, there's no stimulus. And because of that, you probably weren't that entertaining.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, okay.
How long did you actually end up streaming for?
13 hours.
Yeah. But you had streamed for before then too, during the day.
Yeah. So I was actually going to do a redemption number 2 tonight.
You were?
Yeah, so I'm going to try to go 24 hours.
Okay.
Because when I hit 13, I was like, dude, I kind of just like bitched out a little bit.
I don't think so. Well, like, okay, so like the reason that why every streamer doesn't do like a 24-hour stream is like a big deal is because it takes a lot out on the person.
Oh, 100%.
Because like also too, it's not even so much like you being up for 24 hours, but it's like, it's the recuperation, because if you go 24 hours, then that means you probably won't stream tomorrow or the day after or whatever day it was.
Well, the thing is like, cause it was Saturday. I slept at like 10, woke up at, I don't know, maybe about 4 or 5.
Yeah. Were you able to sleep that night?
Oh yeah, dude, I passed out until 11.
Yeah.
And then, no, but today, cause like what I was thinking is if I do stream today, then I was going to bring it on into tomorrow. And then that would be my already tomorrow stream. And then I'd fall asleep at 9.
Well, like, okay. So like also too, maybe like for future ones, if you like hype it up, like if you spend a whole week promoting it, you're like, hey guys, we're going to go all night on Friday. Then it kind of gets people something excited to look forward to.
Yeah, no, it's true. I can definitely do that.
Yeah, because if you need to, I mean, if you want to do it for next Friday, we can actually, because usually we record the podcasts on Friday. So if you want to do like a 24-hour stream on Friday into Saturday, we can record, I don't know.
Anytime in the day, it don't matter.
It'd have to be in the morning.
That's fine. It don't matter.
Yeah. So that way it gives you time to prepare and, just in preparation for that.
You know what you could also do too is they have what's called a subathon. And so what it is basically you have a scheduled live. So let's say you go 8 hours. If people sub or donate, that adds to the time you're allowed you go live. So they like their donations and their subs basically keep your stream going. So a lot of streamers do it for like every sub is like 5 minutes, but if you do like every sub is an hour or 2 hours, then it would keep people not only entertained, but it would keep, all right guys, who's gonna be the next person to sub? Let's see how long we can keep this guy up. It's this little bit more incentive that kind of adds, like you were saying, it's kind of hard to be entertaining in hour 13. But if you have that kind of like incentive, people get a little bit more keen on that kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, that's something to think about. And I'll look into it this week.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Hey, you could be like, hey, who's gonna sub and put me on here for another couple hours?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You actually, you made Twitch affiliate incredibly quick. There's a lot of people that spend a lot of time grinding.
Yeah.
So you networked and you definitely earned that reward.
Oh no, 100%. And it's more just something I got to keep at because
Yeah.
I think I only made like 2 followers in the 13 hours.
Yeah. So there's that that cost and reward, right? So
Yeah.
it's like you're like, oh, well, if I'm live for this long, I should be able to get this many more followers. But it's like this, at which part is it kind of rough,
Yeah, no, 100%. But I mean, it's whatever.
Did you get to at least like were there people coming in from like different parts of the?
I don't know.
The
Nobody
room?
talked.
Yeah, it's especially in the middle of the night. It's kind of hard to get people to interact because it's usually
In the
pretty
middle
late.
of the night.
Yeah.
But
And
it's cool.
There wasn't really that many people watching, so
Yeah, I mean,
it's something I just learned.
yeah. Well, like it's a muscle you have to train, right? It's you learned and you're like, oh, the fact that you still want to keep doing it is kind of cool too. You're like, all right, well, there's our first one. Let's do it again.
Yeah, no,
You know,
100%.
So,
How about you
Yeah.
guys?
Well, I actually have 2 things. One, I started running again, and I'm really excited about that because I was just feeling like my energy was just super stagnant.
Yeah.
So I've really enjoyed running, and it's just kind of it's kind of given me like a little fresher outlook on life, I think.
Now, is it like mentally or physically or both?
Both.
Because exercise is a great way to kind of like move some energy and kind of clear your headspace.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Do you think about things while you're running?
Oh, very much so. Well, I have a tendency, it really all depends. I mean, sometimes it's like if I hit like a little spot where I want to stop, I'll like count bushes, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, you're like, I'll make it to this bush,
Yeah.
I'll make it to that bush.
I'd
yeah.
be like, I'll look for like a bush like way up ahead. And then I'll like look at ones in between. I'll be like, okay, there's 1, there's 2. And sometimes I just do that. But most of the times it's just, if I have a problem, I have a tendency to solve it while I'm running.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I'm just like, I'm just not going to think about anything and just listen to the birds while I'm running.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But either way, it's been really good just moving. I guess just moving my body. I just felt like especially the first time I ran and I was getting all that oxygen in, it definitely felt like it was moving all the old stuff out.
Sure.
If that makes any sense.
Well, I mean, medically, no, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it was like my blood was pumping harder. I was breathing faster, and I just felt like I had been so stagnant for so long because, what I'm doing now, I'm not really moving that much.
Yeah.
Even when we were in the office, I was like standing and walking around. You'd go to the copy room. I had more physical movement. So the last 30 days, I've been very stationary. So it felt really good getting my muscles moving again.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then really quick, the next thing I did is I actually became an Amazon affiliate.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and I've had a lot of fun putting together lists.
So what exactly is it for those of us that don't know what an Amazon influencer is?
Yeah, because I could keep on calling it an affiliate. Do I call it an affiliate or an influencer?
I have no idea. I don't know
Okay,
what it
because
is.
I keep calling it the wrong thing, and I guess I shouldn't do that. But I'm an Amazon influencer, and basically what it is they've set me up so I can go through the Amazon app and find anything to buy and put it into lists, and then recommend the lists to everybody who follows me on social media.
Sure. So it's kind of like, hey, these are things that I buy, or like, hey, buy these things off of Amazon.
Well, I'm looking at it more. I mean, it's a really big program, but the way I'm going into it is I'm like, hey, if I were going to be shopping for a weekend outfit, these are some of the things that I think are cute.
So it's an incentive for people to buy things off of Amazon.
Correct.
Yeah. Which also, to be fair though, Amazon clothes are actually pretty insane.
They're pretty good.
My favorite shirts are Amazon shirts.
I've this is just something that I've started doing, but I did find a super cute pair of shoes yesterday, so I bought those, and I'm very excited about that. But not only through this influencer program, not only do I reach out to my followers, but I can actually make content, and then Amazon puts it on their page.
Yeah.
So, for example, I bought like a desk to work off of, like when I'm setting down, and I can videotape myself opening up the box, putting it together, and then using it, and then I send it to them, and then they'll use that content, and then I get paid off of that too.
There you go.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it's been a little tricky because I have to be really careful on. Since I am getting paid, I need to make sure that I put like the hashtags. Like if I actually
Like
do,
ad,
yeah, if I
like
actually do
sponsorship.
if I have to actually do an ad, I'll have to put hashtag, influencer ad. So I always just put hashtag Amazon influencer.
Yeah.
And, but it states right on my homepage on Amazon that I'm earning a commission off of it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So it's
Cool.
been really cool. And it just feels like, like one little piece of the puzzle, like a little building block.
A building block to what?
To our platform, to just everything that I've been working really hard on.
Okay.
And really quick, and I don't want to be rambling too much, but I was talking live on TikTok today, and it made me think back to like when I would go shopping with Barbu.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of the things that I really loved the most to do with Barbu. We would go shopping, and it was just a really fun time that we had together.
Yeah.
And it kind of brings back that memory of just like I'll be shopping, and in the back of my mind, it would be like, ooh, Barbu would like this one. Yeah. And I feel kind of like I'm shopping for, her and I are shopping together again.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and it was a really cool experience. It was just kind of like a really cool way to put together, a fun memory of Barbu and I
Well,
shopping.
it's a good way to like look at it too. Like instead of like, oh, well, I'm going to do this to like try to make money. Or like, oh, I would do this because I think mom and I would enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? Truthfully, if I went to it of just like, I'm just going to just do this just to make money, I'd just be putting lists together left and right, not really even caring and just putting it out there and kind of a hit and a miss. But I've never built my platform on that at all.
There you go.
And yesterday when I was out thrifting, I saw this little lady and her daughter shopping, and it reminded me so much of me and Barbu, and I followed them around the store.
Just like, can I help you? And you're like, no, I'm just watching.
In every different, like area they'd like turn around and I'd like pretend to look at something really quick.
Yeah.
So if you're out there and you're shopping with your mom and you see some like little gray haired lady following you around, it's probably just me.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was just really fun listening to their interaction. So,
How about you, Robert?
I changed my flight from August to May, so I'll be going to England in May.
Nice.
And I'm actually going to go watch Queen. I'm going to see Queen live.
do you know who the lead singer of Queen is now?
Adam Lambert.
Mm-hmm. Do you know who that is?
His first name is Adam.
Wait, what? They got a new singer?
Well, yeah, Freddie Mercury is.
I
no
know
longer here.
Freddie Mercury's dead.
Yes.
But I'm just saying.
Well, so it's just like how like Sublime with Rome, how Brad is dead. They have this, Rome is filling all the covers. So it's this guy named Adam Lambert.
Yeah, he was on American Idol.
Okay, and he is going to be taking over the place of Freddie Mercury, and I guess he's really good.
Yeah, he did a really good job.
Yeah, so I'm going to go see Queen live, which would be
That's
kind of
sick.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I told Natasha I was going to wear the same get-up as Freddie Mercury with a yellow jacket and like the white shirt and just,
Yeah.
so.
I can see you doing that. Well, you have a cool mustache like him.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I not like it, but yeah, I have a mustache and Freddie Mercury has a mustache, so practically the same thing.
So you're still going to go sightseeing and stuff when you get there in May and kind of do all the same thing again?
Yeah, I reckon so. It's supposed to be like, I checked the weather and the high is supposed to be like 50 something. So I'm going to have to wear a lot of jackets.
Yes, you are.
But yeah, I want to go see the Queen, and I'm also going to see Queen the band.
No,
And
I
then-
don't think you're going to see the Queen.
I don't know. Who knows? And then a bunch of like, apparently like there's ghosts and shit all over England. Everything's haunted. Like everything's got a dungeon. Everything's got a ghost.
Well, that's pretty cool
No,
since you're
it's-
like
yeah,
so.
the world's biggest scaredy cat when it comes to that stuff.
I mean, how did that come up in? Was she like, do you want to go to the haunted Disneyland or
No,
do you want
she's
to
like,
go
yo,
to
let's go to
haunted-
York. They have a dungeon. And I was like, no. So I'm going to a dungeon, I guess.
What do you? Well, I don't even want to know.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
It's not. It's scary.
Why?
Because it's dark.
So? It's a dungeon.
I know.
Yeah.
There's so many better places to go. Like,
I don't know.
Take me to the top of the castle.
Right.
I'm a classy broad. I want to be like wined and dined. I don't want to be led down into a dungeon.
See, I was thinking a dungeon was kind of like an attic, just where you like store your potatoes.
Or basement.
Yeah,
Attic's at the
a
top.
basement. Yeah,
Yeah.
basement. Go down. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'll be in England in May.
That's
So
awesome.
you guys are gonna have to take over the podcast for 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right. So we're on chapter 5, and the chapter of this title is called "The Best Way to Start a New Habit." Brandon, I know this is our second time doing the podcast. Are you okay with reading again?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just going to be on the first page, and then there's, I guess, a little story that I'm just going to read. It's called, in 2001, researchers in Great Britain began working with 248 people to build better exercise habits over the course of 2 weeks. The subjects were divided into 3 groups. The first group was the control group. They were simply asked to track how often they exercised. The second group was the motivation group. They were asked not only to track their workouts, but also to read some material on the benefits of exercise. The researchers also explained to the group how exercise could reduce the risk of coronary heart disease and improve heart health. Finally, there was a third group. The subjects received the same presentation as the second group, which ensured that they had equal levels of motivation. However, they were also asked to formulate a plan for when and where they would exercise over the following week. Specifically, each member of the third group completed the following sentence. During the next week, I will partake in at least 20 minutes of vigorous exercise on which day, at which time, and which place. In the first and second groups, 35 to 38% of people exercised at least once per week. Interestingly, the motivational presentation given to the second group seemed to have no meaningful impact on behavior, but 91% of the third group exercised at least once per week, more than double the normal rate. The sentence they filled out is what the researchers refer to as an implementation intention, which is a plan you make beforehand about when and where to act. That is, how you intend to implement a particular habit. The cues that can trigger a habit come in a wide range of forms. The feel of your phone buzzing. In a wide range of forms. The feel of your phone buzzing in your pocket, the smell of chocolate chip cookies, the sound of ambulance sirens, but the 2 most common cues are the time and location. Implementation intentions leverage both of these cues. And then I highlighted a little thing that just says, broadly speaking, the format for creating an implementation intention is when situation X arises, I will perform response Y.
Yeah.
So do you think, so out of curiosity, putting in our own lives, what would be an example of a habit that we already have?
So the whole chapter is basically implementing and how to start a new chapter. So what you would do is you would find a habit that you would like to form, whether it could be neutral or positive, or it could be anything like that. Whenever there's a situation that occurs, you would do such things. It's very similar to, he goes into, we're skipping ahead, but basically there was this researcher in this test that happened every time the bell would ring, dogs would salivate because they would get a treat. Mm-hmm. So they associated the bell with food, which was a habit of, hunger. So it would be anything. So like, let's say if you want to start brushing your teeth more in the morning, every single time you turn on the shower, you brush your teeth or anything like that. And that's how you implement new habits. You kind of add on to whatever your current routine is.
Right. I'm trying to figure out like a habit, like putting this sort of thing into context of something I'm already doing.
So they kind of stack into that later, but
I was thinking, like, for example, at 4:00 I take Liberty for a walk.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. So like, let's say, we don't walk Liberty or anything, or let's just use her running for an example. So in order for you to establish more of a routine, you would kind of call it out into existence. So whenever, X situation arises, whenever I finish my morning coffee, I go for a run.
Okay.
So you're not necessarily like starting right out of the blue. You're just adding on to your daily routine.
Right.
Or daily
right.
habit.
I was just trying to give a context, like an everyday.
Sure. So
like an everyday task that we already do that applies to this rule.
Yeah. You could be like, after I'm done eating, I will wash off my plate and put it into the dishwasher.
Yeah, that's all I was, I was just kind of wanted to give context to what Brandon just read.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, I'm just going to switch over to page 71. Mm-hmm. And it says, where was I? We leave it up to chance and hope that we will just remember to do it or feel motivated at the right time. An implementation intention sweeps away foggy notions like I want to work out more, or I want to be more productive, or I should vote, and transforms them into a concrete plan of action. Many people think they lack motivation when that they really lack is clarity. It is not always obvious when and where to take action. Some people spend their entire lives waiting for the time to be right to make an improvement. And then it goes, once an implementation intention has been set, you don't have to wait for inspiration to strike. Do I write a chapter today or not? Do I meditate in this morning or at lunch? When the moment of action occurs, there is no need to make a decision. Simply follow your predetermined plan. The simple way to apply this strategy to your habits is to fill out this sentence. I will do said behavior at said time and said location. And then it gives some little bullet points. Mm-hmm. So it says meditation. I will meditate for 1 minute at 7 a.m. in the kitchen, studying. I will study Spanish for 20 minutes at 6 p.m. in my bedroom. Exercise. I will exercise for 1 hour at 5 p.m. in my local gym. And then it goes marriage. I will make my partner a cup of tea at 8 a.m. in the morning. So yeah, I mean, those are just like little things that you can just do. I mean, even if it's like eating healthy, you know, I'll eat healthy, or I'll have this side of food at this time at this location.
Yeah.
You know?
Kind of like me with my bad eating habits.
Yeah, well, like basically what he's saying is he's just like, he's eliminating the guesswork, right?
Yeah.
So instead of, you know, like a lot of people will use fitness. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I'll start exercising in the new year. They kind of like throw it out there and they're like, all right, that's it. There's no set schedule, or there's no set like implementation like he's talking about. Yeah, there's no plan. So instead of like making like this goal at the beginning of some odd time, you start adding onto your daily routine. So, you know, your daily routine could be like, once I'm done eating dinner, I'll walk around the block. They implement it more so that it's not so like overwhelming, where it's this huge change. It's more like small, minute changes, which is the whole premise of the book.
Yeah, and then there are also, I mean, there's a page in here that I'm just going to jump a little bit,
Yeah, go
but
for it.
I'm not jumping. I'm just saying it's just more like, you know, they start at the new year because it's a new year. You know,
Yeah.
everybody thinks that it's a new year, but you can even start it at the beginning of the week. It's a new
Yeah,
week, or you
yeah.
can start it at the beginning of the month because it's a new month.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no point to really wait for something when you can start it.
For sure, yeah. And if anything, it'd probably be better to start at the beginning of the week or the beginning of the month, because this way you don't have to wait for, you know, I think if
You
you
don't
wait
have
like
to
for the
wait.
beginning of the year or something like that, I think you'll spend that time psyching yourself out.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh, well, I could have been exercising, 3 months ago. I could have been doing this or that. And I think you kind of psych yourself out instead of like small little changes.
Yeah.
you
Right.
know?
Well, I mean, I just like with my new implementation of running, truthfully, I was giving myself all sorts of excuses why I wasn't working out.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of times we have to just kind of quiet down the voices in our heads to just make sure that they're not telling us what we can't do. You know, we need to make sure we can tell ourselves what we should do or will do.
Yeah, I mean, very similar to like how he talks about in the last chapter, right? The identity. You know, if you assume the identity of a runner, if you assume the identity of somebody who wants to lose weight, or the identity of somebody who wants to clean the house more, it's easier for you to kind of implement those habits to structure your day better, and that you can actually implement these. So like if you were like, oh, well, I am a runner, I run, I'm a runner. Then you'd be like, okay, well, after I wake up, I have my cup of coffee, then I go for a run. And it's easier for you to start that habit if you already have that mindset of being a runner.
Yeah. When the first time I ran, I was not doing very good. I was like, when I got home finally, I'm like, I am a runner.
Yeah. But you still did it too, right? Like,
and that was the mindset. So I went back and did it again.
Yeah. Because the first time's always going to be the hardest.
Yeah. Actually, today was pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like mentally or physically?
It seemed like physically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it was just, every day's different.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'm just going to jump to the bottom because
Yeah.
that's where I pretty much just said it.
Yeah,
It
it's where you
says,
left
if
off,
you're
yeah.
unsure when you start to habit, try the first day of the week, month, or year. And that's what I was just saying.
Yeah.
And it was just right there at the bottom. And it says people are most likely to take action at those times because hope is usually higher. If we hope, we have a reason to take action. A fresh start feels motivating, which it does.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like new year, new me. Kind of
yeah.
thing.
Well, you
like
could
new
even-
week, new me, new month, new me.
Yeah. And sometimes like if we have a bad day and you just, you go to bed early, you wake up and then in the mornings you're like, oh, well, maybe today will be better.
Yeah. You just kind of like sleep it off.
Yeah. It's a new beginning. Every morning we wake up, it's a new beginning.
Yeah. But I mean, if it feels like, the days are just kind of going in and there's no real new beginning, then it's kind of hard to feel that sometimes.
In what way?
Well, I mean, like, so say, if, like, I mean, especially being at work,
Yeah.
like, well, being an escrow, it seemed like even if it was a new week or a new day, it still felt like the same fucking day, or it just.
Well, we felt trapped.
Exactly. So I'm
Yeah.
just saying, so there's kind of like those things that even if you do feel trapped, like, you're not really trapped. You're just making an excuse.
Well, I think in that situation, you guys were stuck in an area that in which you couldn't get out of, and I think because of that, you felt like a little bit more despair. But if there was like, if you were to like implement, let's just say we implement this book in terms of habit forming, every day, okay, so like, after work, I'll sit down, I'll have a dinner, and then after dinner, I'll look for different jobs, or I'll look for different ways to improve, or something like that. I think because we never discovered this book, or maybe because we didn't implement any new changes in our lives at that moment, it felt like, you guys were just kind of stuck in a rut or stuck in a hole.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But even the whole time we were there, we were always looking for a way out.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, for example, like in what way?
Well, we were always like, it's like, well, I have to get the social media going. Brandon, he implemented a plan of streaming,
Okay.
me. I mean, towards the end, I'm just saying this, I was really proud of us, all of us, that instead of just being, staying there and staying stagnant, we implemented a plan and we did it.
Yeah.
Even
sure.
before this book, we were doing, we did that.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was just a little like pat on the back. Pat.
And then on page 72 says there is another benefit to implementation intentions. Being specific about what you want and how you will achieve it helps you say no to things that'll derail your progress, distract your attention, and pull you off course. We often say yes to little requests because we are not clear enough about what we want to be doing instead. When your dreams are vague, it's easy to rationalize little expectations or exceptions all day long and never get around the specific things that you need to do to succeed. And it says, give your habit the time and space to live in the world. I mean, it's true, sometimes we just only think about shit and we won't even put it into action. It just kind of stays in our head because of some sort of fear, or say if we, there's just, say if you had a family and there is no way that you could do it, and sometimes you just don't have the time. But I mean, there's always time.
Well, that's what he's saying, right? He's saying make time for it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So it's even if you feel like you have no time, you always have time.
Yeah. And then, but it's a beautiful thing. It's like you have to let it get from your mind and your thought and your head. Give it a shot, don't, like you said, give it time to live in the world. So if you want to implement something, if you want to start doing something, you just do it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's just do it. I think what he's saying too, right, is make more of a schedule, right? So it's all about schedule implementation and then executing that schedule. So if you're like, okay, I want to read 15 minutes a day, you would physically, like how we did our morning routine, our morning schedule. In that schedule, you would plan out 15 minutes of free time or time for you to be reading.
Right. But he also said prior to that, we have a tendency to make exceptions. We have a tendency to not even start that plan because we have to be like, oh, well, it's never going to work. Or, I just don't have time.
Yeah.
He's saying, give your habits time to get out there and breathe and live. So, start with that habit, start with the thinking about how to do it and actually do it to see if it's going to work. That's the way I took it.
Well, I mean, I think you and I are talking about the same thing.
In different words.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I think you're saying, you're like, do it, just go ahead and do it. And I'm saying, yeah, schedule a time and do it.
Yeah.
And then here it's kind of like what you referred to, Robert. Well, it is what you referred to, but it says like a dog salivating at a bell. Maybe you start to get antsy around the time of the day you normally work out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. When I was working out and I didn't go, I would get antsy around the time because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, that's right. You have that time that's dedicated to that habit or the event, and when you're not doing it, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing with my
Pretty
life.
much.
So what are you gonna? Did you ever figure out what you're gonna do?
Yeah, I'm just gonna work out in the garage. I was supposed to go meet with that guy and do like a free week at a gym, but I just couldn't be bothered because it's like they're like car salesmen. They like hound you for an event or a membership. I was like, it's going to be for 7 days. I'm not, I can't even be bothered.
He would have become your new best friend. He would be calling you.
Well, so I'm super petty, but he called me this morning and he was like, hey, Rob, it's Brandon from the gym or from EOS. And I hate being called Rob. Yeah. If I don't know you, you don't call me Rob.
Yeah.
People can call me Rob, once they know me kind of thing. But if you start off Rob, no. And that's probably the biggest thing. So if he would have been like, hey, Robert, it's Brandon from the gym, from EOS Fitness, just schedule and confirm. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll probably think about it. But he called me Rob. And I'm like, no, fucking, you're done.
Like, sorry, guy.
Yeah, man. I never once did I, in any of my conversations or any of the forums, I filled out Rob. And he was like, oh, yeah, no, he's a Rob. No, you don't call me that.
Yeah, I remember in escrow, there was and I love him dearly, but Christopher. Mm-hmm. Remember Christopher? Mm-hmm. He, if anybody called him Chris, he would go off and he'd be like, my mother named me Christopher. There's 11 letters in my name and you're going to call me by every single letter.
Yeah.
And he would get really offended when people would call him Chris.
Well, I was not so much offended. It's more of like, yo, I don't know you. My name's Robert. You can call me Robert. And then we're friends. You can call me Bert or you can call me Rob. But you're a stranger, guy.
Yeah.
I'm not your fucking friend.
Yeah. Not your friend, pal.
Yeah.
And I ain't going to go to your gym.
Yeah. No, I'm going to work out in the garage.
And then, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to tell you that.
Okay, so there was also, there are many ways to use implementation intentions in your life and work. My favorite approach is one I learned from Stanford professor B.J. Fogg, and it is a strategy I refer to as habit stacking. So it kind of tells a little story, and it goes, the French philosopher Denis Diderot lived nearly in his entire life in poverty, but all changed one day in 1765. Diderot's daughter was about to be married and he could not afford to pay for the wedding. Despite his lack of wealth, Diderot was well known for his role as a co-founder and the writer of the Encyclopedia, one of the most comprehensive encyclopedias of the time. When Catherine the Great, the Empress of Russia, heard of Diderot's financial troubles, her heart went out to him. She was a book lover and greatly enjoyed his encyclopedia. She offered to buy Diderot's personal library for 1,000 euros, more than 150,000 today. Suddenly, Diderot had money to spare. With his new wealth, he not only paid for the wedding, but also acquired a scarlet robe for himself. Diderot's scarlet robe was beautiful. So beautiful, in fact, that he immediately noticed how out of place it seemed when surrounded by his more common passions. He wrote that there was no more coordination, no more unity, no more beauty between his elegant robe and the rest of his stuff. Diderot soon felt the urge to upgrade his possessions. He replaced his rug with one from Damascus. He decorated his home with expensive sculptures. He bought a mirror to place above the mantel and a better kitchen table. He tossed aside his old straw chair for a leather one. Like falling dominoes, one purchase led to the next. Diderot's behavior is not uncommon. In fact, the tendency for one purchase to lead to another one has a name, the Diderot effect. The Diderot effect states that obtaining a new possession often creates a spiral of consumption that leads to additional purchases. You can spot this pattern everywhere. You buy a dress and have to get new shoes and earrings to match. You buy a couch and suddenly question the layout of your entire living room. You buy a toy for your child and soon find yourself purchasing all the accessories that go with it. It's a chain reaction of purchases. And that's 100% true.
Yeah.
I always thought it was just me, but go ahead, Brandon.
No, if I buy one thing and then it just seems like I have to buy other stuff for it, I buy other stuff for it.
Sure.
Like there's always something that you can buy for something.
Yeah, and you can apply it to like anything, like any kind of habit or any kind of hobby.
Yeah, like, got a new PC, have to get new monitors, new keyboard, new mouse.
Yeah, or like also too, like if you were to buy like clothes, you're like, oh, I can't be eating, this, like, I got to make sure I start eating this so I can do that kind of thing. Like if you're running, you're like, oh, I can't be eating cheeseburgers or things like that.
Yeah, or if you're running, you're like, oh, well, I have to get a new pair of running shoes. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, but my shorts aren't, they're not aerodynamic either.
Yeah.
And then you get like a pair of shorts and you're like, oh, well, now my top looks silly, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, kind of like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing. You're like, oh, well, I'm a runner. Runners deserve this kind of thing. And you kind of like it basically is, again, you kind of assume that identity. Yeah.
Even though I did find a pair of shorts that reminded me of my PE shorts in 7th grade. So I bought them and now I need to find a pair of tube socks.
Great.
Yeah.
So, you got to make a statement when you run.
What?
You have to make a statement when you run. I want everybody to be like, oh, right, that's it. I have to wear whatever I want.
You think, okay.
Oh, really quick, not to interrupt, but today I had one of those moments. I walked past these people and they had a couple of dogs and they were very nice and we exchanged pleasantries.
This is when you were running?
This is when I was running. So I made it to the corner and I headed back. Well, they had gotten to their destination. They headed back. So we were like going towards each other and then some car like honked. And so I'm all like, oh, somebody recognizes me. So I was waving and I didn't realize it, but they were honking and waving at the people with the dogs and they were waving. And then they looked at me like, why are you waving at these people?
It's not even surprising at all. As soon as you said honk, I realized that it was like,
I'm like, hello. And
I wonder if that has a name for something.
The Barbu syndrome.
Like when somebody waves at somebody behind you and you think they're waving at you. I wonder if that has a name.
I don't know, but it happened and I corrected myself up.
So after that, did you start running?
Well, I was still running.
Oh, okay.
But they just, and they walked by me and they kind of gave me the look and I'm like, hello again. And that was just it. I mean, it happens so many times.
Yeah.
I do that all the time. To me, it was just another incident, but I thought it was funny.
Okay.
Sorry, Brandon, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
And then on page 74, it says, when it comes to building new habits, you can use the connectedness of behavior to your advantage. One of the best ways to build a new habit is to identify a current habit you already do each day and then stack your new behavior on top. This is called habit stacking. Habit stacking is a special form of the implementation intention. Rather than pairing your new habit with a particular time and location, you pair it with a current habit. This method, which was created by B.J. Fogg, has the as part of his Tiny Habits program, can be used to design an obvious cue for nearly any habit. So Fogg's habit stacking formula is, after I do said current habit, I will start the new habit. Meditation is, after I pour my cup of coffee each morning, I will meditate for 1 minute. It says exercise, after I take off my work shoes, I will immediately change into my workout clothes. Gratitude, after I sit down to dinner, I will say one thing I'm grateful for that happened today. Marriage, after I get into the bed at night, I will give my partner a kiss. And it says safety, after I put my running shoes on, I will text a friend or family member where I am running and how long it will take. So, I mean, it's just more of like, again, you just take your habit, figure out what you're going to do, and then stack the new habit on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the easiest way to create new habits, right? Is to already attach them to pre-existing ones. So like, instead of like, I think the biggest thing for people, right? Or for people trying new things is it's like they just plunge into the deep end and they don't know how to start, or they don't know where to start, or they don't know, basically how to go about it in their daily routine. So by them adding it on to their current habit, it already gives it the time and the place, very similar to what we saw at the very beginning of the chapter, right?
Yeah.
So after X, thing is done, I will perform Y habit. So it's very, very similar for people, or very, very easy for people to kind of already start that new habit to get in the swing of things. So that's the whole premise of this chapter, right? Is just how to start it. It's very, very easy if you use this rubric.
Yeah, because I know that a lot of people will say, like, if they're working and they want to work out after work, they're like, ugh, if I sit down, I will never get back up to do what I wanted to do.
Sure.
And and I think that's like the habit stacking, because once you sit down, it's just like maybe it breaks your motivation.
No, I don't think it breaks your motivation, but I think it's if you're really, really tired after that day and you sit down, you're like, oh, well, I can't be bothered. But if you give yourself that mental, like, okay, once I'm done with this, I will do that. And especially like how Brandon says at the very beginning of the chapter, the people who gave that certain activity a time and the place were 91% more likely to do it. So if you're saying, okay, after the gym or after I'm done working, I will go downstairs and go to the gym, or I'll drive to the gym and work out. You've already gave it a time and a place, so that if you were to not do it, it would be a lot more difficult to not do it.
Yeah, like when I was working out a couple of years ago with Des.
Yeah.
He would, on Mondays, we work out at 5, and that's right after I got done working. So I would just take my workout clothes with me. I would change in the car, and then I would work out right after work. No matter how tired I was or anything, I'd still do it.
Did you find that it was like, was there any time you were like, oh, I just want to turn and go to home, or like, do you remember like giving it a time and the place and being more like?
No, I mean, the only time you could work out at 5 was 5 with me. So I was like, okay, there's really nothing I can do at that point. It's either I work out with them or I don't. So I just made sure that I worked out with them. So I always brought my clothes with me on Monday. Yeah. Changed in the car once I got to the gym, and then started working out. Yeah. So there was really, I didn't give myself the excuse to not do it.
Sure, absolutely.
So that's what I always did.
Well, I mean, that's a great habit to form, right? So you're like, I can't not go to the gym at 5. Yeah. So like your habit is already so like rooted in your day that it's super hard for you to get out of it.
Yeah. I mean, the first couple of weeks or even like the month of working out, I mean, there was days I didn't even want to go. Yeah. Just because I was so tired. But at the same time, like, you can't stop once you get too tired.
Well, that you assume the identity of somebody who works out after work. Yeah. So it was really hard for you to kind of break that identity because you've done it over and over again. It was that subconscious habit formed.
Yeah.
Do you think that did you enjoy your workout as much after work, or did you, I mean,
it didn't really matter to me. It was more of just...
Retired either way.
I didn't really. Yeah. I just wanted to get out of the house because that was when I was dating my ex. Yeah. I didn't want to be there.
You just made me spit.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. There was reasons why I worked out and got out of the house, but that was a couple of years ago. So anyways, down in the page of 74, it says, the key is to tie your desired behavior into something you already do each day. Once you have mastered this basic structure, you can begin to create larger stacks by chaining small habits together. This allows you to take advantage of the natural momentum that comes from one behavior leading into the next. A positive version of the Deidre effect, your morning routine habit stack might look like this. After I pour my morning cup of coffee, I will meditate for 60 seconds. After I meditate for 60 seconds, I will write my to-do list for the day. And then it keeps going on. After I write my to-do list for the day, I will immediately begin my first task. Or consider this habit stack in the evening. After I finish eating dinner, I will put my plate directly into the dishwasher. After I put my dishes away, I will immediately wipe down the counter. After I wipe down the counter, I will set up my coffee mug for tomorrow morning. And this is kind of like what you were saying earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you just kind of stack all the habits into one instead of just thinking of doing like the mindless motion of just doing daily stuff. You know, you kind of have to put a habit into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of ties in with what Mom was saying earlier is, you know, giving that habit time to breathe or time to live in the day, right? So if you already acknowledge that you're going to stack it onto a pre-existing habit, you've already given it a time and a place for it to kind of exist.
Yeah.
So like, you know, after I shower, I'm going to apply lotion kind of thing. You've already given it that mindset and you've already made that commitment to like commit to that habit kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's very, very, I think in terms of like creating new habits, I think this is a very cool way to start it. Instead of just plunging into the deep end, you're like, oh, I'm going to start running more. And they're like, well, when are you going to run? And you're like, whenever I got time.
Yeah. You know what? You will never find the time.
Yeah. Well, if you may not never, but I mean, it's definitely gonna be difficult, right? Yeah. So like you can't be like, oh, I think I'll do it like after I eat, or I think I'll do it before I go to bed, or, you know, things like that. You don't give it enough you
don't give it enough time to breathe.
You don't give it a time and place so you'll be less motivated to complete that task.
So was it last week that we went through our morning schedule?
Mm-hmm.
So do we want to, what I was thinking about doing is like we could go through our morning schedule and see where we can maybe insert a new positive habit.
Yeah, well, I know this is our second time trying this podcast. We dissected Brandon's, but I'd actually like to volunteer and try to do mine.
Well, I was kind of thinking maybe we could all do our own and then come back and just see,
Oh, okay. Yeah. And start doing it for next week.
Yeah. And so for next week, we come back and we'll be like, hey, you know what? Here's my morning schedule. And this is a new positive habit that I'm going to insert in this time.
I wouldn't even give it that far. I would say all three of us should find something to do and then implement it over the week and then report back to what that habit was.
I thought that's what we were going to do.
Well, yeah.
No. No, I thought that if we were going to say it today, we would just implement it into the week.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because if we do that, then by the time they hear what we're doing, we'll already be 2 weeks ahead.
Oh, okay. So then I'm sorry, I didn't mean, so just to be clear, so that everybody out there knows, we're going to pick a new habit and do it all week.
Well, we're not all week. We're going to implement it into our daily routine. So it wouldn't be a good habit if we only did it for a week.
Right. But I meant that we're going to do it this week and then report back on it.
Yeah.
So it's Monday morning, and so what I'd like to, I would like to encourage everybody who's listening to maybe do the same thing.
Yeah.
Why not?
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So do something, implement a new positive habit into your either morning or evening schedule.
Or your day.
Or your day.
Yeah.
Anywhere around there.
So what's your guys' habits?
I'm gonna start waking up early.
Nice.
Because I used to start waking up like super early. Now I've been sleeping until like 6 or 7. No, it's like 6. And it's kind of driving me crazy. So I'm going to implement a new routine where my mornings can be a little more planned out. Because I would just wake up and then I'd kind of be like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll do this. And there wasn't enough scheduling and routine. Now I'm going to start implementing a new like morning workout and productive like schedule. So basically, I mean, I don't have one new habit. I'm going to rewrite my entire morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do something along the same lines because I found myself now sleeping in more and more and more, and it's getting me, starting later and later. Mm-hmm. And then if I have that later start, I have a little bit of a tendency to have a little bit more anxiety.
Sure.
Because I feel like I'm not going to get everything done. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to try to wake up earlier, but I'm going to try to implement a more solid schedule for in the afternoon. Because kind of like once after I take my shower and I do my content, between noon and 5 is just kind of willy-nilly.
Yeah.
And I think I'm losing a lot of productivity just by jumping around too much.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I know whenever I talk to you, you're like, well, I have this and that and this and this and that and this. So I think if you gave yourself a little bit more of like a structure thing, you'd be a little bit more.
Yeah. In fact, now that you mentioned that, what I was thinking about earlier, it's because a lot of times in the morning when I'm looking at my social media, I'm thinking about the TikToks and the Reels and the stuff that I'm going to do. And I would like to start writing those down. Mm-hmm. So then that way I'm applying that. I'm going to do this TikTok idea at this time.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this Reel idea at this time. And because sometimes I'll go and I'll be like, oh my gosh, it's this time. I haven't done any of my content yet.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about doing something like that.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
What about you, Bren?
I'm gonna put my phone farther away from me so I can actually wake up, and then I'm gonna take a shower. Well, I already shower in the mornings, but instead of just going back to bed, I'm just gonna take a shower.
Yeah, because you'll already be up.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna start putting out content. So I'm just gonna start doing that.
Yeah,
That's cool.
kind of rewriting your morning routine.
Pretty much.
Now, does it take you like a long time to wake up? Because I know you said you'll check your phone and then you fall back asleep. But like once you're up, are you up, kind of thing?
Yeah, once I'm up, I'm up. But it's more of just like I just sit there.
Mm-hmm.
It's more so like say if I set my alarm for 7:30.
Yeah.
Then my phone's going off at 7:30. I put it too close to me, so I already snooze it without even knowing, and then
Yeah.
next thing I know, it's 11.
Oh, okay. Sure.
So I just got to put my phone farther away from me, take a shower after I turn on my coffee, so that at that point I'm just going to be up instead
Yeah.
of just going back to bed.
Yeah.
So that's just what I got to do.
It's like the Deidre effect, right? So like once you're already up, then you kind of, then that'll happen and then that'll happen. It's kind of like a domino effect.
Well, I mean, I don't know about the Deidre effect.
Yeah. Well, like you'll already be up, right? So,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what would, so if you're already up, what would, you would kind of associate somebody who's being up with the things around you.
Yeah, so I mean, once I'm already up, I'm just going to stay up instead of just
Mhm.
going back to bed,
Mhm.
because I usually go back to bed and just lay down.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to start waking up, grabbing my phone, turning on the coffee, and then taking a shower.
Now, do you eat breakfast at all or no?
No.
No. Okay.
Only if I have stuff to eat, I'll eat it, but no.
You don't like actively make breakfast?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't wake up, make eggs or hash browns or anything
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
So,
Do you eat your lunch? You eat your lunch pretty early though, right?
I mean, I eat lunch at like 11:30.
It's
Mhm.
normal.
Yeah, and then I'll eat dinner probably around whatever time I stop streaming.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'll probably have to because I got to go to the grocery store after this anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to get some snacks and stuff and start meal prepping better.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to start doing.
Awesome.
Yeah. So on page 76, it's saying overall habit stacks allows you to create a set of simple rules that guide your future behavior. It's like you always have a game plan for which action should come next. Once you get comfortable with this approach, you can develop general habit stacks to guide you whenever the situation is appropriate. Exercise. When I see a set of stairs, I will take them instead of using the elevator. Social skills. When I walk into a party, I will introduce myself to someone I don't know. Finances. When I want to buy something over $100, I will wait 24 hours before purchasing. Healthy eating. When I serve myself a meal, I will always put veggies on my plate first. Minimalism. When I buy a new item, I will give something away, one in, one out. Mood. When the phone rings, I will take one deep breath and smile before answering. Forgetfulness. When I leave a public place, I will check the table and chairs to make sure I don't leave anything behind. I mean, yeah, like the habit stacking is literally, you can do it and you can apply it to anything.
Yeah.
So
And that's sorry.
you're good.
No, I was going to say like the book has mentioned before. I mean, it's like what might be a bad habit to me might not be a bad habit to somebody else.
Yeah, there is no such thing as he never once explicitly says a bad habit. It's whatever habit is good for you as the person.
Huh.
So the habits that we kind of come up with and habits that we say, like we just use fitness as an example because most people would agree that fitness is a good habit to have, but it could be good or bad. It to different people, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the only way I can think about it being bad is people trying to lift too heavy of weights and hurting themselves.
Yeah, you're right. Well, then that would be they would have a bad habit forming of maybe not doing enough research or like that's a really good example, Brandon. Because if you were like, oh, well, I'm just going to lift these heavy ass weights and then not know enough about like your body or form
Or even how to even lift weights.
Yeah, or like lift with the because mom likes to lift with her back. So
Sure.
If you're going to assume the identity of a weightlifter, you should like do research, you should watch videos, you should talk to people. That in itself right there would be the lack of, I think, of a good habit or a lack of a habit, which would result in an injury,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because you didn't stretch, you didn't check the weights, you don't have anybody spotting you. Those are all habits that could have been formed to help somebody who doesn't know how to lift do something better.
Yeah.
And it's not necessary. I mean, that's necessarily a bad habit. But then if you, like you guys said,
Yeah.
if you just research it and do what you need to do, then it turns into a good habit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you become the identity of a weightlifter, and then your form gets better, your diet gets better, your overall physique gets better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's assuming that identity and tacking on habits by habit stacking.
And that's one of the really cool things about this book is it's like you can tailor it to anybody. Anybody can take this formula and make it work in their own particular instances.
Yeah.
So,
And then on page 77, it says, no matter how you use the strategy, the secret of creating successful habit stacking is selecting the right cue to kick things off. Unlike an implementation intention, which specifically states the time and location for a given behavior, habit stacking implicitly has the time and location built into it. So there's that. So, I mean, like, is selecting the right cue to kick things off. So even if it's just like, after dinner, and like you guys were saying beforehand, it's like, even if you don't have the time to go work out, or say if like you miss working out, like you were saying last time, go for a walk.
Yeah.
There's even though you don't have the time to go to the gym per se, you just still do something that's exercise related.
Yeah. Well, if on the next sentence, right? He says, when and where you choose to insert a habit into your daily routine can make a big difference, right? So like mom doesn't want to get dressed, put her makeup on, and then go for a run.
Yeah.
Right. So you'd be more successful in your habit if you schedule it in your day that would be best suited for you. Mm-hmm. It's all about, I think, time management. It's all about, what I like about this book too is he's very structured. I'm a very structured person. So I think me and this James Clear guy would get along really well.
yeah.
Because he's all about like, hey, find a habit, implement that habit into your daily routine, and then schedule time around to make that habit happen. Mm-hmm. So it's all about time and place, right? Like if you'd be much more motivated to work out after work, not during work, or you'd be much more implemented to like, start eating healthy, after or before swimsuit season or things like that. So find a time and a place.
Yeah, because I'm not a very structured person.
Yeah.
So for me, it's going to be really important, like he said, to make sure that you habit stack correctly. Mm-hmm. So you have to basically see what your habits are. So it's going to be a challenge for me because I'm going to have to conscientiously check my habits, see what I'm doing, and then figure out the right place to put it.
Well, okay. Do you have an example of a habit that you would like to start?
Well, I want to be more structured. I mean, truthfully, overall, I don't know if being more structured is a habit, but I would like to be a little bit more structured in my day and my content.
Okay. Well, so then for an example, how would you habit stack you being more structured?
Well, by the time I walk Liberty and I eat dinner, I would like to have my lives done. I would like my content created. I would like to have my YouTube already at least recorded.
Okay.
And then, I walk Liberty, I eat dinner. But then again, it's like I just have to make sure that, because I still have additional things to do while I'm trying to watch TV.
Sure. Okay. So again, how would you implement more of a structure in your...
Okay. So what I was thinking about, and I was thinking about this yesterday, is I got that little desk.
Yeah.
So, and I was much faster yesterday just sitting on the floor and putting my stuff into Poshmark. So I would like to implement it like after dinner. I'm going to sit down and for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, just concentrate on just putting stuff into my Poshmark. Then I can sit there and, shop around on Amazon. But what was happening is I was sitting on the couch, I was kind of watching TV, I was kind of putting my things into Poshmark, and it was just taking really long. So I'd like to maybe implement a better habit of what, like the 2 hours after dinner, what I do.
Sure. So, okay. So if I may,
go ahead.
You had said that you want all this stuff done before dinner though.
No. I can't physically do all of that.
So what I'm asking is...
So after dinner routine needs to improve also.
So it seems like your overall day, there needs to be more of a habit stacking of structure.
From the minute I wake up to the minute I go to bed.
How would you implement that? We're on chapter 5. We know enough. What would you do to kind of implement more of a structured day?
Well, what I was going to do is in the mornings when I'm checking social media, I'm going to start writing down the TikTok content that I want to create.
Sure.
And the reel content. I'm going to... Go ahead.
No, it's okay.
So I was going to write down what I want to do, what idea I come up with, and when I'm going to do it.
Sure. So it seems more like you need more of a when and where kind of a thing. It seems like you need more of a time allowment, because I think what you do is I need to do TikTok. Oh, that reminds me, I got to do an Instagram. Oh, that reminds me, I didn't even film my YouTube. I think if you if you wrote it out like, hey, from noon to 2, I will be making TikTok content. From 2 to 3, I'll be making YouTubes. I think if you did that, then you'll be able to check it off more lists instead of it just seems like you're running around kind of putting out fires. Yeah. Maybe implementing more of a strategy and like that. So hey, I need to make sure I get all this content done before noon. In order to do so, I'm going to wake up earlier. like that kind of implementation.
Yeah. And also too, it's like with my thrifting, I have it down to Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays.
Yeah.
And because it was taking a lot of time for me to, it would take a couple hours out of my day.
Sure.
So I'm trying to time manage better. I mean, I don't think I have unhealthy habits.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't, like you said, I don't have a time and a place for the habits that I have.
Yeah, exactly.
How many cups of coffee do you have in the morning?
Oh gosh.
Well, it doesn't matter.
2 or 3.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then first cup of coffee, you're going to be looking at your TikTok and Instagram and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Second cup of coffee, I would start doing a TikTok or write down the ideas. And then the third cup, I would do said idea and then continue on your day.
It's a really good idea.
Yeah.
If you think about it like that, okay, like you wake up, you have a cup of coffee, you write down your TikToks. After your first cup of coffee, you jump in the shower or you go for a run. And then after you go for a run, you do that like that. And Brandon made us a really good point. Like you can structure your day around your cups of coffee.
That's habit stacking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's clear cut. That's a great example.
Yeah. I think what I'll do is like first cup of coffee, I'll look, because I have 3 places that I actually 4 places that I look at. I look at TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Poshmark.
Yeah.
And on my Instagram and TikTok, I need to take the time to respond to comments and stuff like that. So maybe what I can do is like first cup of coffee, TikTok, second cup, Instagram, third cup will be like a combination of Poshmark and YouTube.
So how long does it take you to go through 3 cups of coffee?
By 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And then by 9 o'clock, I would like to have all of that done. By 9 o'clock, I'd like to have my coffees done, all of those things done, my TikToks written down, and my reels written down what I'm going to do, and I'd like to be running by 9 o'clock.
Okay. Or would you be opposed to maybe answering those TikToks and other comments maybe at night when you're a little bit more relaxed? Or
No, because I have, I do that at night also. It's not just, it's because it's pretty constant.
Okay.
So I actually try to set aside time, morning, afternoon, and evening of replying to content.
Okay. Then yeah, like Brandon said, like maybe structure your day and implement habit stacking around your cup of coffee.
Yeah. Maybe what I'll start doing is like after I walk Liberty and, before I start dinner, maybe I can do like a little commenting for comments then. So it's not putting so much pressure on me at night before I go to bed.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a really good idea. Thank you, Brendan.
You're welcome. And then on page 77 still, it says, your cue should also have the same frequency as your desired habit. If you want to do a habit every day, but you stack it on top of a habit that only happens on Mondays, that's not a good choice. One way to find the right trigger for your habit is to stack it, for your habit stack is by brainstorming a list of your current habits, which you guys were just talking about. You can use your habit scorecard from the last chapter at a starting point. Alternatively, you can create a list with 2 columns. In the first column, write down the habits you do each day without fail. It says, for example, get out of bed, take a shower, brush your teeth, get dressed, brew a cup of coffee, eat breakfast, take the kids to school, start the workday, eat lunch, end the workday, change out of your work clothes, sit down for dinner, turn off the lights, go into bed. Your list can be much longer, but you get the idea. In the second column, write down all the things that happen to you each day without fail. For example, the sun rises, you get a text message, the song you are listening to ends, the sun sets. That's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the only part of the chapter that didn't really make sense because he's like, well, write down your daily list and, habits you do each day without fail. But like,
oh, that makes sense. Okay, so it happens each day without fail, as in like it's always going to happen.
Oh, this is the basis of stacking habits.
So like coffee is an everyday thing without fail. Like the sun rises every day without fail. You always get a text message. The songs are also that you're listening to ends without fail. Because if something begins, it has to end. This is the
starting block for habit stacking.
Yeah. And then you just, inside this, like the sun rises, I get out of bed, I take a shower, brush your teeth, get dressed. You get a text message, you answer it after your shower. The song you're listening to ends, either whatever.
Do a push-up.
And then go into the bed. And then you sit down for dinner, like the sunset.
Okay. Yeah, because these are going to happen without fail. You can implement a habit after each one of those. So sun rises, morning, you get out of bed, and sort of habit.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to re-say it at my own
I was
words.
going to say, Brandon definitely said that. But yeah, it's nice. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So
you just said it with a female voice.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then it goes into, armed with these 2 lists, you can begin searching for the best place to layer your new habit into your lifestyle. Habit stacking works best when the cue is highly specific and immediately actionable. Many people select cues that are too vague. I made this mistake myself when I wanted to start push-up habit. I wanted to start a push-up habit. My habit stack was when I take a break for lunch, I will do 10 push-ups. At first glance, that sounded reasonable, but soon I realized the trigger was unclear. Would I do my push-ups before I ate lunch, after I ate lunch, or would I do them? After a few inconsistent days, I changed my habit stack to when I close my laptop for lunch, I will do 10 push-ups next to my desk and big woody gone. And it's that makes sense, because sometimes, like, if you try to start a habit and then the habit fails in the first couple days, you either stop or you have to kind of sit there, reconsider what you're doing, and then start anew.
Yeah, because it's kind of like, I want to write down the TikToks that I'm going to do. In theory, it sounds really good. Yeah. But I'm not giving myself a clear enough message as to when I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Don't make them so vague.
Yeah.
Have a purpose behind them and then do it. Yeah. Because, if you have such a purpose behind it, then you kind of just want to do it more.
Well, just like for you, Brendan, with your habit, with what you're trying to do is like wake up. I think if you have like a real clear intention of what you're going to, the benefits of you waking up earlier, it's going to help you implement that habit.
Well, if I put a purpose of it as in I do, like I need to start editing more videos, I'll have to do it in the morning. That's a clear cut of what I want to do. So if I have a habit stacking of wake up, turn on the coffee maker, take a shower, then start editing, at that point, it would make it more important instead of very vague of just, I want to wake up.
Exactly. That's a really good way of looking at it.
Putting something behind it that's a little bit more reasonable instead of just like, okay, if I wake up so early, what's the point of waking up so early without anything?
You're like, I could be asleep right now, I'm not doing anything.
Doesn't matter to me. So it's more of just something like that.
That's fair. That's good.
Yeah. So, Robert, I know that you're planning on doing a little bit more content creating. When are you planning on doing that?
In the morning when I wake up.
Is that why you're waking up a little bit earlier?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then on the last page of page 79, it just says, the first law of behavior change is to make it obvious. Strategies like implementation intentions and habit stacking are among the most particular ways to create obvious cues for your habits and design a clear plan for when and where to take action. And then I'm just going to go over the chapter summary.
Please.
The first law of behavior change is to make it obvious. The two most common cues are time and location. Creating an implementation intention is a strategy you can use to pair a new habit with a specific time and location. The implementation intention formula is I will do said behavior at said time and said location. Habit stacking is a strategy you can use to pair a new habit with a current habit. The habit stacking formula is after I do said current habit, I will start said new habit. So, like I was just saying, even if I started a new habit, and even if I did the implementation intention, so I will wake up at 7:30 in my apartment. Yeah. So it's just like, that's just what I'm going to be doing. And then if I do a current habit with the new habit, current habit is I wake up, take a shower, and then new habit would be start creating more content. Yeah. So it's just you take the implementation intention and then put it into as well as the habit stacking, and then you create a whole new monster.
Yeah, your new habits are basically piggybacking on the ones you already do.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that, truthfully, in reading it again, I think the first time I read this chapter, it was like a little like, sure. It was much clearer this time.
Well, we should just do every podcast twice.
No.
You're not okay with that?
No.
You don't want to do it?
No, but I really like reading and then talking a little bit, reading and talking a little bit.
Yeah, no, it gives Brandon a break because he read the whole, pretty much the whole chapter.
Twice.
Yeah, but you did really good both times. You're a really good reader.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm not too sure if everybody remembers, but I did talk about a red-tailed hawk that I could see out of my bedroom.
Yep. I'm not eating it again.
No, you're
not.
I
don't want any more time.
Okay,
no. I wasn't.
No way in hell
it's alright, dude. I was telling Natasha, you should have seen the shit that she wanted us to eat. It was this fucking block of guava jelly. It was like like in the Depression, that or World War I they had what's called was it tack?
Yeah.
It's like
it was like soap. It was like squishy soap.
It's like squishy. It was like squishy soap. Yeah. It tastes like butt sack. Actually, I was trying to show Natasha. Where's it at?
I threw it away.
Oh, you threw it away.
Yeah, it was expired.
You had it?
You're gonna give us expired.
No, I was never gonna make you eat that. But before y'all, put your foot down, I do want to let everybody know that I did get photographic proof that I could see a red-tailed hawk from my bedroom. Yeah. Am I going to make Robert and Brandon eat something? Not again. They had tapioca pudding.
Which actually tasted really good.
Not the second bite.
No?
Not the second
They
bite.
had like, I think he got more of like the little lumpy things.
I
that
No,
were in
I
it.
said first bite tasted like vanilla. Second bite tasted like ass.
That's tapioca pudding.
Yeah.
Tapioca pudding is actually Bolivian for vanilla ass.
Yeah.
So,
Noted.
but I
That's
was
good.
going to post, I took a video and I was going to post it on Instagram. So if you all want to take a look at the red tail hawk that I can see, it's not in the cul-de-sac, Brandon, you are correct. But it is
I know.
Wait, we've all been telling you that.
Well, now I finally am going to agree that you guys are right. It is across the street though, in a tree. So, yes.
So we're all wrong.
Well, the location of the tree was across the street.
Ah.
So, but you know what? In theory, I was there. I watched you guys eat the tapioca pudding, so we both won.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
Yeah. So I hope everybody has a great week. As always, I appreciate. I know we all appreciate you. Hopefully, you are enjoying this, and remember. Have a good new habit. And if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you can reach out to me on Instagram at Gray Hair and Tattoos.
I am Don't Die Disco on all platforms: Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram.
And Robert is Robert Pike on Instagram and Sherbert on YouTube and TikTok. So you guys take care. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.